All right, let's dive right into this explainer and look at a seriously groundbreaking model for post-war medical rehabilitation. We're exploring a system that fully merges high-tech with human psychology to heal the deepest wounds of war. Specifically, we'll be breaking down a proposed model for Ukraine that uses the Khutirets 6.0 platform alongside the AGI EDEN Lab. And look, this isn't just about patching people up. It's about fundamentally rebuilding human potential using advanced cybernetics and psychosomatic care. I want to start with this question because, let's be real, isolated technological fixes, like just dropping a microchip into someone's brain, are never going to be enough to solve the sheer devastation of combat trauma. War shatters the physical body, but it also shatters mental health. If you only treat the body, the mind is still trapped in the trenches, right? But if you only treat the mind, the physical limitations are still there blocking you. What the source material makes absolutely clear is that a real solution demands a complete synergy between deep tech and psychosomatic recovery. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to hit 5 main areas: the Khutirets 6.0 ecosystem, the neo-neurointerfaces, psychosomatics and overcoming trauma, the body, brain, and family dynamic, and finally, the state implementation model. Starting off with Section 1, the Khutirets 6.0 ecosystem, or the Live Lab environment. We're stepping way outside the usual depressing megacities here. The Khutirets 6.0 model proposes these autonomous, live lab settlements. They're part of this broader technological Sparta concept, where the environment itself is literally built for recovery. The houses are 3D printed and totally barrier-free, so zero stairs or mobility obstacles. But here's the wild part. These settlements are governed by a board of 300 artificial intelligence agents. And out of that board, a dedicated group of 30 specialized AI agents strictly monitors the health of veterans 24/7 using wearable sensors and neurochips. It is a completely proactive, algorithm-driven way to handle community health. This brings up a fascinating point. Following the logic of tech pioneers like Sam Altman, this ecosystem treats the massive computational power you need for neurorehabilitation as a basic public utility, not a luxury, a utility. In this live lab, having the raw AI power to process brainwaves in real time is seen as being just as fundamental as turning on the tap for clean water. Moving right along to Section 2, Neo-neurointerfaces. This is the hardware of recovery. You know, when we talk about brain hardware, everyone immediately thinks of Neuralink, right? But there is a massive contrast in approaches here. Neuralink utilizes a chip that actually pierces the cerebral cortex, which naturally carries a higher risk of tissue damage. But the sources highlight a different tech entirely, the Neo chip. Interestingly, a device like this was actually approved for commercial use in China's state-run health system, proving governments are seeing this as a real tool for social and medical rehab. The Neo platform is minimally invasive. It sits right between the skull and the protective dura mater of the brain. If you've got a patient who has already survived severe combat trauma, keeping things minimally invasive to lower inflammation is absolutely crucial. So what can this Neo chip actually pull off? Through brain-computer interface, or BCI tech, veterans with severe spinal cord injuries or missing limbs can control bionic prosthetics and advanced exoskeletons literally with their thoughts. It's like something out of sci-fi, but it's real. And it's not just a remote control. It relies on intense neurofeedback. By mentally commanding these movements, the brain is forced to relearn and rewire its own motor patterns, which actively accelerates the recovery of the nervous system. All right, Section 3, Psychosomatics, Overcoming the Trauma. Here's the kicker. All this incredible hardware is basically useless if we ignore mental health. Take phantom pain, for instance. Your brain is registering agonizing pain from a limb that's not even there anymore. Well, this tech acts as a bridge. The neurochip syncs up directly with VR goggles. The veteran visually interacts with a virtual version of their missing limb in VR and commands it with their mind. By seeing and controlling that virtual limb, AI algorithms can essentially trick the brain into calming down, completely turning off those excruciating phantom pain signals. It is a brilliant biohack. And simultaneously, we have to tackle the PTSD. During trauma-focused EMDR therapy, the neurochip provides real-time biodata. This means the therapist can actually see the biological stress levels spiking or dropping in the brain during the session. It allows them to perfectly adjust the emotional load on the fly, making sure the veteran's nervous system is carefully guided through processing the trauma without ever being pushed past its breaking point. Which leads us to Section 4, Body, Brain, and Family, the ecosystem cluster. Because honestly, healing the individual just isn't enough. Look at this quote. It really captures the heart of the Khutirets model. War wounds don't happen in a vacuum. They ripple through the entire family. The secondary trauma hitting spouses, parents, and kids is massive. Any model that actually works has to treat the family as one interconnected ecosystem. So, how do we pull the family into the process? Through co-rehabilitation. By bringing relatives directly into the training process with the neurochip and exoskeletons, the technology actually helps them reconnect emotionally. Imagine family members helping to calibrate a veteran's bionic arm. It turns a cold clinical procedure into teamwork, restoring a sense of closeness. Plus, these Khutirets 6.0 settlements mix medical clinics right in with relaxation zones and robotic labs. It builds a real community where veterans and even the elderly step up as mentors for the youth in synthetic education systems. They become absolutely indispensable to the society.
Finally, Section 5, the state implementation model, basically funding the future.
How does a nation actually pull this off on a macro level? The sources lay out a really smart, three-pronged strategy for Ukraine. First up, state guarantees. Just like we saw in China, the chip installation and therapy need to be covered by the state, in this case, integrating it into the National Health Service of Ukraine, or the NSCU. Second, international donors. You attract grants from Western BCI developers by offering them something incredibly valuable, anonymized clinical data from real-world post-combat use in exchange for the tech. And third, localization. You set up domestic production for these bionic limbs and exoskeletons, which drastically slashes the hardware costs. And here is the ultimate goal. This ecosystem completely flips the script on recovery. It shifts the veteran from being seen as just an object of social care into an active, highly capable, cybernetically empowered participant of the U-Nation. Their unique life experiences, combined with these advanced capabilities, turn them into a massively valuable resource for the future of the country. I really want to leave you with this thought. When we take the sheer precision of AI and neurochips and combine it with the profound empathy of family and community integration, the possibilities are just staggering. It really makes you wonder what limits are even left on human potential. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.